Hi, this is Jim, Tips and Tricks again. And one of the things I've noticed a fairly large amount on the YouTube especially, but by varying people contacting me at different times, is the problem we have with CB aerials and generally radio aerials on the four-wheel drives. The first thing you got to remember is a diesel engine will shake anything to pieces, absolutely anything to pieces. And one of the tricks that I do, as you can see, this is my CB antenna. It's a fiberglass whip, and I've got shrink on over the joints here. I put 3 or 4 layers of shrink on this joint here, and that actually strengthens it up. It doesn't make it rigid where it'll snap off if you hit a tree, but it makes it rigid up that joint there, and actually distributes the vibration over a larger area, which makes them last longer. Now this particular CB antenna has done the canning stock route. It's done the Nullarbor, and believe me, when I go across the Nullarbor, I go across on the dirt. It's done the Simpson 2 times, and believe me, when I drive up to the Simpson, there's no main roads, not the way I go. So this aerial has stood up to a considerable amount of pounding and banging and bashing out in the bush. I'm not going to advertise brand names, but this is the style I find that works fairly well. But if you have shrink on it, you can strengthen them up and make them a lot better. This is the other one with the spring load on it, where they can fold it down. When you go into the desert, you'll find this will rattle itself to pieces. I always place a piece of shrink on over the joint like so. When I shrink that down, that saves the area from falling apart when I'm out in the desert. And when I get home, if I want to fold the aerial down again, I can run the knife down the edge of the shrink on. It comes straight off, no damage, no sign that it was there, and away you go. There you go. I hope that helps. Tenor in the field when you're out in the bush. But if you've got some of this stuff with you, when you're out in the desert and out in the bush, and your aerial does happen to break, I can give you a quick fix which will somewhat work in the bush. And as soon as you can get a new one, I'd buy a new one. But what I've done a couple of times is I've had a break in the antenna. I've got a couple of sticks off the ground, taped the sticks on, put a bigger shrink on over the outside, shrunk it all down, and kept going. And I've done that on a few occasions. I've done well over 1,000 kilometres on the dirt before I replaced that antenna. As long as the wire, which is wound around your antenna, or the braid, is not broken, in other words, the whole thing is still hanging together, you won't have any problems with it. If it is broken, and you just put a bit of shrink on over it and think it's going to work, you're going to come to grief. You've got to make sure the wire is connected. But it's not a long-term fix. It's a short-term maintenance fix. And that's why you do it. So, good little trick. Bit of shrink on. Fix your antennas before you go. Do what I do. I strengthen up the joints on them. And when you do go, take a bit with you and you'll be able to fix that antenna in the field. Otherwise, no one can hear you. I'm about to make another YouTube video up shortly, within the next couple of days, on how to use a CB radio, UHF CB radio, and the reasons why we use them when we're out in the desert. And I hope you stand by to be watching for it. I'll try to have a bit of fun with it. A couple of the guys from the club will probably help me with it, and there's nothing worse than having 2 or 3 radio nerds together doing something which we're supposed to prove that we're intelligent to, and that won't be. But you'll have a lot of fun. But you'll learn a lot, just like how to crap in the outback. It'll be basic, simple, straight down, where you can understand. You do not have to be a radio nerd to be able to use a CB correctly. And if you don't use one, it's the best way I know to have a head on.